Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more English story. Emma was a college student who dreamed of becoming a writer. She loved reading and creating stories in her notebook. But she was scared to share her work. Her fear of failure and criticism stopped her from taking the next step. Every day, she told herself, "I'll start tomorrow." Weeks turned into months, and Emma hadn't written a single page for the novel she had always wanted to write. One day, Emma's friend Lily noticed that Emma seemed unhappy. "Why don't you ever talk about your writing?" Lily asked. Emma hesitated, looking down at her hands. "I want to write, but I'm scared," she admitted. "What if no one likes my stories? What if they think I'm not good enough?" Lily smiled and placed a hand on Emma's shoulder. "Emma, you'll never know until you try. If you don't write, you won't get better. You have to believe in yourself, even when it's hard." Inspired by her friend's words, Emma decided to stop waiting for the perfect moment. She promised herself that she would write for just 30 minutes every day, no matter what. At first, it was tough. Emma would stare at the blank page, unsure of what to write. But slowly, her ideas started to flow. As the weeks passed, Emma grew more confident in her writing. She wrote short stories, poems, and even a few chapters of her novel. One day, she decided to share one of her stories with Lily. "What do you think?" Emma asked, feeling nervous. Lily read the story and smiled. "This is amazing. Emma, you're a great writer. You should share it with more people." Encouraged by Lily's support, Emma submitted one of her stories to a writing contest. She was nervous but proud of herself for taking the step. A few weeks later, she received an email saying she had won first place. Emma couldn't believe it. Her dream was starting to come true. Emma's journey wasn't easy, and there were still days when she doubted herself. But she had learned an important lesson. Fear shouldn't stop you from chasing your dreams. Every small step counted, and with each word she wrote, Emma grew closer to becoming the writer she had always wanted to be. The comfort zone. Emma spent hours staring at a blank page, trying to find the right words. She felt overwhelmed, convinced that whatever she wrote wouldn't be good enough. "I'll just write something simple," she told herself. "It doesn't matter if it's perfect." As she wrote, her thoughts raced. What if the professor doesn't like it? What if my classmates think it's bad? But despite her doubts, she continued to write. Slowly, a story started to form, a story about a young girl who overcame her fears and found her voice. The next day, Emma handed in her assignment with shaky hands. She told herself, "At least I tried," even though she still felt unsure about her work. A week later, Mr. Carter returned the papers. When Emma received hers, she saw a big A at the top, along with a note that said, "Great job, Emma. Your story had real heart. Keep writing." Emma's heart raced. She couldn't believe it. Her professor had liked her story. For the first time in a long time, she felt proud of herself. From that moment on, Emma started writing more. She no longer waited for the perfect moment or the perfect story. She realized that the more she wrote, the better she became. With each story, Emma's confidence grew. She knew she wasn't perfect, but she also knew that her passion for writing was enough to keep going. And as she continued to write, Emma learned that success wasn't about being perfect. It was about trying, learning, and believing in yourself. The push. After class, Mr. Carter stopped Emma in the hallway. Emma, I've read some of your essays. You're a talented writer. Why don't you participate in the writing contest next month? Emma froze. A contest? I don't think I'm ready for that, she replied. Mr. Carter smiled. No one is ever completely ready. But sometimes, you need to push yourself. It's the only way to grow. His words stayed with Emma. That evening, she sat at her desk and stared at a blank page. I need to try, she thought, even if it's scary. The next day, Emma started writing her entry for the contest. At first, her thoughts were all over the place. She didn't know where to begin or how to shape her story. But then, she remembered Mr. Carter's advice. Push yourself. So, Emma decided to write about something personal, her journey of overcoming self-doubt. She poured her heart into the story. Even though she was scared. What if people didn't understand it? What if they didn't like it? But as she wrote, something shifted inside her. The fear started to fade, and she realized how much she loved writing. This was her passion, her dream. She couldn't let fear stop her anymore. After weeks of writing, editing, and doubting, Emma finally completed her story. She took a deep breath and submitted it to the contest. She wasn't sure if she would win, but she knew that taking the leap was already a victory in itself. A few weeks later, Emma received an email. She had won second place in the contest. Her heart raced as she read the message again, just to make sure she wasn't imagining it. Her story had touched the judges, and they appreciated her courage to share such a personal piece. Emma couldn't believe it. She had done it. She had faced her fears and taken the chance. From that day on, Emma knew that success wasn't about waiting for the perfect moment. It was about trusting herself, taking risks, and pushing through the fear of failure. The contest was just the beginning of a much bigger journey, one that would lead her to becoming the writer she had always dreamed of. Taking the first step, Emma waited anxiously for weeks, each day feeling like an eternity. She couldn't help but think about what the judges might say. What if they didn't like her story? What if it wasn't good enough? The fear and doubt returned, but she tried to push them aside. One afternoon, as she was walking to class, Emma checked her email. Her heart skipped a beat when she saw a message from the contest organizers. She opened it quickly barely able to breathe. The email read, "Congratulations, Emma. We are pleased to inform you that you have won third place in the writing contest." Emma couldn't believe it. Third place? She had done it. She had written a story that people liked and valued. Her heart swelled with pride. She had taken the risk, faced her fears, and pushed through the doubt. And it had paid off. When Emma shared the news with Mr. Carter, he smiled proudly. "You see," he said, "taking risks is the only way to grow. You proved to yourself that you can do it. Keep writing, Emma. This is just the beginning." From that moment on, Emma felt a shift inside her. She no longer waited for the perfect moment to write. She wrote because it was what she loved to do. Emma's victory in the contest was not just a win. It was the start of her journey as a writer. One step at a time. And most importantly, she had learned that the real victory wasn't about the prize. It was about overcoming her fear and believing in herself. The outcome: Emma felt a rush of excitement and disbelief when she read the email again. Second place. She had made it even further than she had ever imagined. She couldn't wait to tell Mr. Carter. When she saw him later that day, she could barely contain her excitement. "Mr. Carter, I won second place in the contest," she exclaimed, her eyes shining with happiness. Mr. Carter smiled warmly. "I knew you could do it. You took a chance, pushed past your doubts, and now look at what you've achieved. You've proven to yourself that you can reach your dreams, one step at a time." Emma nodded, her heart swelling with gratitude. She realized that the contest wasn't just about writing. It was about stepping outside her comfort zone, trusting her abilities, and daring to believe in herself. Winning second place had been the beginning of something much bigger. From then on, Emma wrote without hesitation, no longer letting fear control her. She understood now that it wasn't about waiting for the perfect time or for everything to fall into place. It was about taking action, even when it was hard, and trusting that each step would lead her closer to her dreams. And so, Emma's journey as a writer continued, filled with new opportunities, growth, and the confidence that came from believing in herself. The lesson: moral of the story. Emma's story offers a powerful lesson about personal growth and the importance of stepping out of our comfort zones. For a long time, Emma waited for the perfect moment to begin writing her novel, thinking that she wasn't good enough or that she needed to be fully prepared. But by doing this, she kept herself stuck, unable to move forward in her dreams. It wasn't until she faced her fears head on, pushed herself to take that first step, and followed through with determination that things began to change. The real turning point came when Emma realized that there would never be a perfect moment, and that growth could only happen when she stepped outside her comfort zone. Her journey showed her that the process of growth involves challenges, doubts, and fear. But those feelings shouldn't stop us from pursuing what we truly want. Instead of waiting for everything to be ideal, she learned to trust her ability and take action despite her fears. By pushing herself to submit her story to the contest, Emma didn't just gain recognition for her work. She proved to herself that she was capable of much more than she had initially believed. She discovered that growth isn't just about achieving success, but about the strength gained through overcoming challenges. Each small step, even when filled with self-doubt, is a victory in itself. Her story teaches us that growth doesn't come from staying in our safe, comfortable space. It's in those moments of fear, when we choose to act despite the uncertainty, that we find our true potential. When we push through our fear, we uncover new strengths, talents, and possibilities. This is how dreams come true, not by waiting for them to happen, but by actively pursuing them, no matter how difficult it may seem at first. Let's enrich our vocabulary with some new words. 1. Predictable. Definition: expected or likely to happen in the same way each time. Example: his routine was predictable, always the same every day. 2. Confidence. Definition: a feeling of belief in oneself and one's abilities. Example: Emma lacked the confidence to share her stories with others. 3. Hesitate. Definition: to pause before doing something because of uncertainty or doubt. Example: Emma hesitated before hitting the submit button on her story. 4. Push yourself. Definition: to try harder and challenge yourself, even when it's difficult. Example: Mr. Carter encouraged Emma to push herself and participate in the writing contest. 5. Self-doubt. Definition: a lack of confidence in one's abilities or decisions. Example: Emma's self-doubt made it hard for her to believe in her writing. 6. Shaking hands. Definition: hands that tremble, often because of fear or nervousness. Example: she clicked submit with shaking hands, unsure of what would happen next. 7. Submit. Definition: to send something for consideration or approval. Example: Emma finally submitted her story after weeks of writing and editing. I'm so glad you spent this time with me. If you like the story, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more. Take care, and see you next time.